and welcome to The Standpoint. August is here. My month of miracle, my month of grace, my month of glory, the month that God smiled on me, that He glorified Himself in my life. Welcome to August, and may this August be beautiful as my outfit. May it be green and flourish for all of us. May God hear the deepest cry of our hearts and answer our prayer. Welcome to The Standpoint. Well, we know it. COVID is here. They say it will stay with us. So then we have to learn to know how to live with it. We've been told several times that we need to follow the protocols, wear face mask, nose mask, whatever it is, wash our hands, all that. But one thing that I think we have not tackled well is the family. How COVID affects the family. How it affects the children, not just because they are home, they can't go to school, but how it affects them emotionally, psychologically. If, God forbid, your child becomes positive, how do you explain to this child what is happening to her or him? Why he has to wear face mask or nose mask every time? Why? How do we handle the children and the family in this period of COVID-19? Well, my name is Hilda Gifty Auntie. Well, I'm a woman with super crazy faith in God. Let me say thank you to GTP for my cloth. This is what they call lockdown. Yes, this cloth is lockdown. Yes, it comes in it. Any of the GTP new designs that you see a padlock in it is the lockdown. And they have the fellow Ghanaians as well, which has the spectacles, the president's spectacles in it. So this is lockdown. And my dress was made for me by the one and only Brie Redua. She does it all. Elegant, casual, whatever it is, and she's very affordable as well. So get in touch with Brie Redua to sort you out. Thank you to Nat's Beauty Studio for always making sure that I look beautiful. She polishes it up. She doesn't paint my face. She polishes it up because I'm beautiful already. 50 and fabulous, So Nat's Beauty Studio does my makeup, and then I always fix my hair at Exhausted Trends. But today I just decided to change my hairstyle. So that's why I've my scarf on. I love this already. We take a short break. When we come back, we are going to look at this thing that is eating us up, that is really ravaging the world. But we'll survive, we'll overcome. All we need is the information and the will to do the right thing. We'll be back. Welcome back to The Standpoint. We are going to take this time to talk about the family, children, and COVID-19. How do we handle it? How do we handle it since they say it's here to stay with us? We don't know how long it stays. I kept predicting, in fact, prophesying, by May, dear Neko. It will be gone by May. It will be gone by, then I moved to September. It is only God who knows, but then we'll have to beat it somehow. Now, to our topic for today. The family, children, and COVID. And I have the right person here with me. I have Dr. Hilda Boye, who is a pediatrician, and she's at the center of it all. She's at the ICU center. Good to have you on The Standpoint.
Good to be here.
I know you've been talking everywhere since, even before COVID. But we also had to have a bit of you.
Definitely.
How does it feel to be at the center of it all? You are the ICU for children.
So
or
general.
The COVID-19, ICU.
Yes, so it's general. But we've mostly had adults coming in.
Okay.
Just a few children. The disease tends to be milder in children. So generally, as expected, we have very few children getting critically ill
right.
and coming into ICU.
But as a pediatrician, you love children.
Yes,
How do you feel when you see the children coming in, with COVID?
So the experience actually has been very humbling for all of us, because suddenly we're living our lives and we now have this illness intruding and changing everything for us. And sometimes for us healthcare workers, it's as if we've seen her, so we are not afraid. I remember I remember the time when we had to decide on whether we would volunteer to join the teams in our various hospitals. And in Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where I originally work, I quickly jumped and said, oh, I'll do it. All the while we were all still a bit afraid, but
you still
we still volunteered.
That's why they said it's a calling, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, practicing medicine, it's a kind of calling,
It is.
Because you have children of your own.
Yes, I do. I have children too.
And every day you have to go to. How many kids do you have?
I have two.
2 kids, a
Yes,
boy and
I
a
do.
girl?
Yes, a boy and a girl.
You're blessed.
Yes.
And I mean, when you're leaving and you go and you have to treat, people, you see what they go through. What goes through your mind?
I know that it could have been me. We've had like different kinds of people, different ages, different backgrounds, some very rich, some poor, some average, some very educated, some not so educated. So we've seen
it all.
We've seen it all. And so we know that we are all really at risk. And
and you see some of your colleagues as well, doctors.
Yes, some of our colleagues have also been ill. The doctors, the nurses, other healthcare professionals have also been ill. So really, we know that it can be anyone at any point in time. And as much as there's still some anxiety, the initial loads of fear have sort of given way to some calmness. So now we are a bit more calm about it, and we know what to do. We know how to wear PPEs. We know how to do it much better than
it's
when
been a
it
learning
started.
process, isn't it?
A big learning process, and I won't give it away for anything. I don't have any regrets having gone in, and thankfully I'm still well.
And thankfully you will still stand well, But I mean, sometimes I feel that maybe I've had it and it's gone. I didn't realize it because the places I went to, Italy, UK, before coming down, and some of the flight that I was in, I was told almost half of the people in the flight had it, that. But I don't know, we just always have to thank God every day.
Definitely.
But personally, I feel that in the way we've handled it, I don't think we've involved the family as a unit so much. In terms of battling it, dealing with COVID.
I think there's some education that has been done, but there's still a lot more education that needs to be done. So for instance, if you go to certain places, certain big offices, you know that in those places, people are wearing their masks, they are using the sanitizers, they are washing their hands and doing the things that they've been asked to do. When you go to some other places, you go to the markets, you go to some other places, you realize that for many people also, it's business as usual. I haven't been to a typical village since this whole thing started, but if I take Circle, for instance, sometimes the things I see...
Circle is a village of its own.
Sometimes the things I see, I know that people are not really taking it serious. And again, some people are still in denial. They don't think that there's anything like COVID. Some will even tell you that they are antiviruses on their own. So even if the illness comes, it's not going to be able to infect them. So we've done some education, but I think a lot more needs to be done, and a lot more of the family involvement also needs to be emphasized. Initially, most of the treatment was being done in the treatment centers. Now we've had very high numbers. There have been some alterations to the protocols. So many people are also positive but are home without symptoms or are asymptomatic and are otherwise well. So how does the family also handle it? People need to be empowered so that they know what to do.
Let me take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the children. How do we do with it? We'll be back. Well, welcome back to The Standpoint. Let me say thank you to our supporters. Awake Purified Mineral Water and Royal Drinks by Casa Preco. They have the mango, they have the cocktail, they have the apple, they have the cola. So many different flavors, but they're all very low. And sugar, thank you to Juice Time. Thank you to House of Food, Auntie Vera, thank you so much. Yep Cleaning Services, Kodam's Gifts, and Stationery. We are so grateful to all of them for supporting us. Now, Doc, how do we handle the children? Should there be infection in the home?
Okay. So, assuming that you have a child who has been diagnosed with the COVID-19, right, it means that there's a healthcare person who is following up this child. And so there'll be education to the family so that they know how to handle their child. So some of the most important things to know, depending on the age of the child especially also, because you see children are in different age groups, right. Yes. So if it's an older child, for example, a teenage child, for example, and the person has a room for himself or herself, then it becomes much easier. So a room, a toilet, and a bath that they can use alone. So they are able to isolate themselves from the rest of the family. And at that age, for the teenagers especially, it's much easier to do that because they are old enough, they don't need much cuddling, and they can do things on their own. Maybe learn on a laptop or read books or something in the room. If they need food, a dedicated person wears his or a mask and goes to give them food, can leave it at the door, then they can pick it up and eat. If they need something, they can ask for it, it can be given. Hopefully they have a bathroom or a toilet to themselves. If not, they come out through a certain designated path and they can go use it, flush nicely or bath nicely. They have their own items also that they use. So they are not supposed to share towels, bed linen, their toothbrush, toothpaste. They are not supposed to share things with the other members of the household. So in a way, that is the form of isolation that they can have.
Right.
And if, for instance, there's any symptom or new problem that they develop, they have to inform the healthcare personnel so that if they need to be assessed and checked into hospital, that can happen. So for everyone with COVID-19, there is a follow-up plan in place. Parents, first of all, also have to be informed about what the COVID-19 is, how the virus spreads. So assuming you are talking to a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, you can sit them down and have a chat like this. Oh, Amma, you just have, how are you doing? Have you heard of the coronavirus? Now they are chorusing it anyway all over, even the kids. So you can ask them what they know about the coronavirus, and then they'll tell you, oh, mommy, I've heard that this is an illness which is killing people. You shouldn't touch anybody. You shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't do, you know. So they may have an idea already. And then you can tell them, oh, the coronavirus is an infection that is caused by a virus. And once you get it, it can make you sick. And for those who are sick, they may be coughing, they may be sneezing, they may have a runny nose, they may have a high body temperature, or they may have a fever. So when you touch them, they are hot. And they may have other problems. They may even become weak. And some are so ill that you have to send them to hospital for them to go on admission and sleep there for a long time. Then you can take the opportunity to tell them or ask them whether they know how the virus spreads. So you can ask them, okay, so Kweku, how do you think the virus spreads? Then maybe they can say, if you touch somebody, or if you use your hand to touch your nose or your mouth, or they may have heard something. But if they get it wrong, you just take the opportunity to tell them that, oh, so the virus spreads when there's somebody who has the infection and the person is close to you. And that is why they say that now, don't get too close to people. You see, even how we are sitting now, there is about 2 meters of distance between us, so that assuming that you have it or I have it, then the chances of spreading to one another is reduced. So that is why we say that you shouldn't get close to people, because if you are close to people who are outside, then assuming they have the infection, you can easily get the infection. And don't be touching things, don't be touching surfaces. So you take advantage to break it down to their level so that they understand. Children listen. It's a bit difficult sometimes, but once you are there to guide them and support them also, it's a bit easier on the whole family. If, for instance, they realize that you are very upset yourself, or you are very unwell, like agitated, anxious, then they will feed on that anxiety and show other symptoms of anxiety themselves. But if you are calm as the parent, it makes it a bit easy, and you still play with them and let them do other things as usual. It becomes easier on them. So they know that even though Nache is not well at this time, she will get better soon. Even though we can't play with her now, she'll get better soon. Even though we are not supposed to go too close to her, she'll be okay. It's just a matter of time. So you take your time and you try and explain to them. And you also put the necessary barriers. You know, children, they are very adventurous.
I was coming to that. That means you have to monitor them, because any opportunity, they will sneak to go and see, you know, if they can see the COVID.
Yes.
They can see the coronavirus.
I know. Yeah. They'll go and try and see it and feel it and touch it.
Wow. Yeah. That's,
yes.
I mean, you've really taken, and I mean, I'm just nodding, and as I said, you're a true pediatrician, you know, so, but what if the child is younger, maybe 3-4 years? Can you leave them to be on whatever you
No,
have
you
to,
can't. You can't. So what happens is that for the children who are unwell, or if anybody actually in the house gets diagnosed with COVID-19, there should be somebody else in the house who is dedicated to caring for this other person as much as possible. And this person should not be someone who has the comorbidities that we've hammered on previously, the hypertension, the diabetes, very old, or is being treated for cancer, or any of those things that predispose they themselves to getting a severe form of the illness. So this person should not be somebody who is high risk for COVID themselves. Yes. So this dedicated person is selected and knows that this is the one going to take care of this person who is unwell. Now, the person who is doing that job has to wear some of the face mask, the medical mask, anytime they go close to do whatever they need to do for this person who has the COVID-19 in the home. So they have to wear the mask. They have to wash their hands very often with soap and water, sanitize when necessary, or when the soap and water is not readily available, and also take all the other physical distancing measures. So they shouldn't go too close to the person. If they have to really go too very close to the person, then they have to make sure that they are in their mask as well and are doing the precautions. If possible, after they come in close contact with the person, they can take a bath or wash their face with soap and water also, just to try to minimize the chance that they will get the illness themselves. And this person who is dedicated to caring for the person with COVID-19 in the home is also definitely going to be monitored by the healthcare personnel. So if they also, for instance, start having symptoms or so, they get tested for the COVID-19. Or at a point in the person's recovery, they may also get tested for COVID-19 themselves.
Wow, but you agree that, you know, when it comes to the home, you know, family, their children,
it's difficult.
It's difficult.
If it's a baby, for example, who has the COVID-19, we are not going to separate the baby from the mother. No, the mother just has to wear her face mask and do breastfeeding, take care of the baby as usual. We will also monitor the mother alongside. You know, there are definitely benefits of breastfeeding. And for a newborn, like a baby, a toddler, sometimes the theory is there, but then practically we have the measures that we put in place to minimize the risk to the older person who is caring for the child. But definitely the child, the infant, the newborn has to be taken care of by the mother. If the mother is not available to do that, then whoever else is available to provide care for the baby, that is done.
Let me take another break. When we come back, we'll look at it. Sometimes even the mother herself too. the emotional,
Trauma.
pressure and the trauma. Like, that's the word that she goes through, knowing that her child,
Has COVID.
has COVID. And, or even the father, what goes through it. Sometimes even it's the mother who has to go away and leave the children, what they go through and how they need to put themselves together and deal with it. We'll come and talk about it. But hey, let me say thank you to GTP for my cloth. This is new style. This is what they call lockdown. Yeah, this cloth is lockdown. The lockdown are the ones with the padlock in it. So if any of their new style designs, when you see the padlock in it, it's lockdown. And then they have the fellow Ghanaians that has, the spectacles, the president's spectacles in it as well. So that's it. And my dress was made for me by Brie Redua. Thank you so much. My makeup always by Nax Beauty Studio. Okay, we'll be back. Welcome back to the Stanford. Well, as I told you, the Nyami Enyo Nyam promo is going on, or HRH, as I call her. That's my pet name for her, Her Royal Highness Trouble. But it is well, So 3 books. My 3 books all going for 100 cities. We've had it before. It was for a week. Now it's going to be for 11 days. That started on the 1st of August and it will end on the 11th of August, which is her birthday. Should be 3 on that day. So all 3 books are going for 100 cities. Since it's 11, I should have made it 110. You see, but okay, your 100 cities. So the first book, that's A Bit of Me, The Best of You, and then, of course, 50 Nuggets at 50. All 3 going for 100 cities for 11 days. We are already well into it. Get your copies and then have a wonderful read. Get inspired, get motivated. Learn from my bad, ugly, nice, beautiful failures, mistakes, everything, so you don't get into it. Have a wonderful read. Get to know a bit more of me, the truth. Get to know about my family. Get to know about my child, the mystery surrounding her birth and all that. Yeah, you like Okonsai. Okay, it's cool. You can go and buy it. But back to Dr. Hilda Boye, who is a pediatrician and is at the ICU Center for COVID-19. You are the center, ICU Center. You've seen people come and go. What is their greatest worry, especially the mothers? What is their greatest worry that they have to be away from home and sick there with the COVID?
Many of them tend to be afraid for themselves, first of all, that they might die. Because, critically ill, it means that you are likely to die, even though you can recover. So that is one of the greatest fear. And if they are dead and gone, what happens to the children, the family? They miss them. And sometimes it's difficult for them to even get the opportunity to communicate with them because of how severely ill that they are. So all those are some of the things that...
Because under normal circumstances, even if you have cancer or HIV, your children can come and visit you.
Yes, they can.
They can come, but with COVID, no family member can come close to you. No friend.
No. The best is if they are able to speak, for instance, then the phone calls or using WhatsApp call, video call, so that they can see the faces. So those are possible, depending on how ill they are. Otherwise, then there's almost nothing until they are out of the woods and they get better and they are able to get in touch with the family. So really, it's a traumatizing experience. And one thing that I have realized that I think is terrible is that many of them, whilst they are still in hospital, people go around saying that they are dead, they are dead, they are dead. And it's a terrible feeling. You can literally feel what they are feeling, the distress that they have. As soon as he's saying that I'm dead.
Which is so unfair, isn't it? The person is already going through so much. It's a shame, but we've lost it. And it is part of it because the stigma, the name calling. Now families are even, I will talk about the family because somebody in the family gets it. And if you're not careful, that family is ostracized for life. hey, this is the family that they have this, so this. I mean, everybody in the family will be tagged that they have COVID. That's the COVID family. They will name, yes, yes. They will give you a name.
I think that we really have to look at ourselves as a people and think about how much we care about each other, how much what we care about, because we really have to have that caring nature back and not treat people as if once they have a diagnosis, it's only the diagnosis. They are not human beings anymore. Let's be real, let's be human, and let's not lose the love and the fighting spirit against whatever problem it is, rather than fighting the people who have the problem.
I like that. Let's have a fighting spirit against the virus and not the people who have the problem. Doc, in conclusion, what do you have to say to parents in terms of paying attention to the children? Yes, we go out and come. We have to go to the market. We have to go to work. We have to now church. As officers, I have to go. We leave the children at home. But then whatever it is, we come home. We see these children. Sometimes we forget that these children have needs too. These children are also in danger. These children also need us. What do we have to do to shift the focus back on our children and the need to do the right things with them? I mean, you and I were talking about, their vaccinations, the taking of their vitamin, A, and, the basic things that children, under 5 years, the health needs that they have. We are shying away from it and we are focusing on COVID and COVID alone. Most of us are even afraid to go to the hospital now.
Yes. So many of the illnesses that were there before COVID have not gone away. They are still there. We still have our HIV, we still have our sickle cell disease, tuberculosis, cancer, all the other conditions, diarrhea, malaria, pneumonia, they are all still there. They haven't gone away. If your child is unwell for one reason or the other, and your child needs to be seen, feel free and let the child get seen in hospital. Don't say that because the stay home, so you will not send the child to hospital. The hospitals have remained open. We have precautions in the hospital to help to protect you and your family from contracting the disease from the hospital. But the hospitals have remained open. So feel free and go. Send your child for the immunizations when they are due. The precautions are still being maintained over there, and your child will be attended to. We do not want to lose the gains that we have made from the vaccinations. So let's ensure that we are keeping our children safe and sending them. Another thing that I also want to mention is that at this time, children are home, many schools are closed. We should not lose sight of the fact that our children are our priority. We need to make time for them. I'm busy, I'm busy, but my children are my priority. As much as possible, if there's something that I need to do for them, I make sure that I make the time and do it for them. That physical closeness with your children, you cannot replace it with any other thing. Nobody else can fill that gap for you. So you need to try and be a part of them and bond with them. Play with them. Make time for them. They'll ask you all sorts of questions. You take your time and you listen and you speak back to them. When they are very young, that is when their ears are wide open and they are ready to listen to you. If that time you replace it with television, for instance, or you replace it with a nanny or somebody, by the time that you really need to make an impact in their lives or need to help them to make life-changing decisions, they may not come to you. They may end up going to the television or to the internet or just come for your money. After all, that's what they need from you. So you really need to try and make time to be with them, to play with them. Every little helps, whether it's reading a book to them, whether it's playing ampe or whatever with them. Every little interaction that you have with your child is important, both for father and for mother and any other relative or person that is in the house. At this time also, it may not be advisable to have a helper who comes and goes because of by that I mean a live-out nanny or a live-out help, because they go about picking all sorts of things and they come home. And we know that COVID-19, the way it spreads. So the more they are out over there and coming in, going out, coming in, you expose your children to the chances of getting the virus. Another thing also, should children still play at this time? Yes, they should. Children should play. They learn through play. They cannot just be learning all day.
Right.
And we know that television also, too much of it is bad. You need to
yeah.
regulate the amount of screen time that you are giving to your children. So by all means, allow them to play. The outdoor playing also really helps them because they can jump, they can do this, they can do that.
Right.
They learn from the environment, they learn, and they are happy. They won't get obese, hopefully, because they are exercising, they are not sitting in a chair.
active,
So
yeah.
let's allow our children to play. However, it's best if they play with children from the same household
Right.
rather than from other
other
households. If they have to play with children from other households, try and the physical distancing, the hand washing,
so hard.
the mask. It is, but Gifty, as I was coming, they were leaving to go and play.
Yes, I would. They will understand, you know.
Depends on the age.
Yeah.
You need to try because being indoors also the whole time has its own disadvantages, and children are also prone to having problems with their mental health if you do not pay attention
I've
to
had
them.
create a playing area outside in the compound for her by force.
Exactly.
I had to get the green, grass carpet there and buy all the pool thing, the toy thing because it was just. And that's one thing that we think we seem to forget, that it's also having a psychological effect on the children.
It is. And that is why we have to try our best and let them know what is happening.
Right.
Tell them from what we know to be the truth, because there's a lot of information out there. Sometimes they'll ask you, Mommy, when are we going back to school? I say, oh, but the coronavirus hasn't gone away. We are still discussing it, so we'll see how it goes. Then once we get the go ahead, we'll let you go to school. But until then, we still have to do the work that we have to do. Play when we have to play. And we have people from different backgrounds. It doesn't have to be a big thing. For children, every little counts.
Yeah.
Even if it is a konko or tontrowa outside, that hopefully is not rusty that they'll get.
I said I'm going to teach my daughter how to play chaskili.
Yeah, we have to bring all these things back.
I'm telling
you. We are losing it. That we have a lot. But we don't really document well. We don't really hand them over well. Sometimes we see what is foreign and we like it and we think that is the best, and we just, forget about our own. But we have a lot of good things that, I remember as a kid, I used to really be...
Ludo. But children don't even know how to play Ludo.
I thought I'll go and buy one for them. So that they can play and know what it is. So every little helps.
Right.
Every little helps.
Right.
Every little helps. And children are very appreciative. All they need from us is the love and the attention. Once we give them that, every other thing is secondary. And for our children, we are their heroes and their heroines and everything. Let's be there for them. Let's just be there for them. And they'll be there for us.
You have your nose mask there, and you wanted to show us how to wear it.
So before you put on your face mask, you need to identify which part is the front and which part is the back. For this medical mask or the surgical mask, for instance, the darker colored portion is the outer aspect. And when you look at the top two, you realize that there is something like a metal that is inside. That tells you that is the top portion. Especially when you are outdoors or in an office setting or so, you can write your initials on it with a marker. So let's say for me, HM Boy, I can just write HMB at the top here so that everybody sees it. Assuming I've hung it, so anybody sees it, they know that it's mine. Okay, so to the wearing. After identifying the front and the back, I put it on. The string goes to the back of the earlobe, like that. And the other one also the same, like this. Now I hold on to the lower portion and I bring it down to cover the chin. And then for the upper portion, the metal helps to hold it in place a bit firmly. So you mold it around your nose like this. and then it becomes a bit more comfortable. So now I have my mask on. Before I put it on, I have to ensure that I've done hand hygiene.
Okay.
And once I take it off also, I have to ensure that I have
hand hygiene means washing your hands or sanitizing your hands.
Perfect,
Okay.
perfect. So that is it. So I take it off like this. You see, when I was taking off, I didn't hold from the front and take it off. Once you start wearing the mask, or once you have the mask on, you assume that the outer portion is contaminated or has the coronavirus on it. Yeah. So you don't touch it. Otherwise, you keep touching it, and then you will touch your mouth or your eyes or your nose, and that's how you get the infection also. So you try not to do that. Now, another thing, in between. So for instance, I'm going to eat my lunch. Where do I put the mask? At that point, you hold it still by the strings. You can fold it, and then you put it into the bag.
Making sure you don't touch it.
Yeah. So at this point, even if you touch it, you make sure that you wash your hands after that.
Okay.
That's the whole essence.
So that means you're not going to use it again?
So for this one, I can use it again.
Okay.
Because I have this, I'm going to just have a quick snack. Okay. And so I just want to take it off for a few minutes and put it back on. So that's how, for safe storage, you need to ensure that you are keeping it in a paper bag or in a Ziploc bag or in a bag like that is hygienic also. Then once you finish, you can take it out and use it. If you want to discard it also, you just tie it up in a rubber or so, put it in the dustbin, and then you are good to go.
Now, Doc, in conclusion, I want you to advise families, especially mothers, when it comes to COVID in the home. You know, if you have a case, I mean, we've talked about it here, but your final words to a mother watching, you know, who's afraid, you know, and so become overly protective, or, you know, somebody in the house has it and she's traumatized and totally lost in, you know, the way people react, so she doesn't know who to talk to. What do they have to do to calm the nerves?
Okay, so we have a lot of support available. You can speak to a clinical psychologist. You can speak to the doctor who is taking care of you. Once you have good information about how the illness spreads and how to protect the other members of your family, it helps to calm you down. And we know that many people also who have the illness will recover. Many of them will even end up being asymptomatic or having just mild symptoms. So that's like one reassuring aspect. So just calm down and know that many people will recover. Your child, your relative, the person who is ill in the house is likely to recover. So calm down. Just encourage the other people in the house also to take the precautions that they need to take and avoid contact with the person as much as possible so that the spread is reduced or almost non-existent in the home. But there's hope. Having worked in COVID for some time, I know that the fear was a bit too much. The anxiety was a bit too much. Let's know what we have to do and take the precautions that we have to take. Once we take those precautions, eat well, exercise, maintain the other physical distancing, mask wearing precautions, we will be fine eventually. If we are overly anxious, our immune system can even go down, and then it will increase the chances of us getting the illness. So there's a lot of hope. Our hospitals are there to offer support. Don't suffer in silence. Reach out for help. And again, we say social distancing, social distancing. It does not mean that I cannot pick a phone and call Auntie Sarah, or I cannot pick a phone and call grandma or grandpa or my brother or my sister or my friend who has the illness or who is not well or who even is well. We need to reach out and love one another. Before you go, this one, what do we have to give to the kids in terms of boosting their immune system? For their immune system. They should eat well. That's the basic. Eat well. The vegetables, the fruits well. And the zinc also helps. The vitamin C also helps. But they should eat well. Fruits, veggies, eat well, sleep well, exercise well, and they are good to go.
Thank you very much, Dr. Boy. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for this education. I have learned a lot, you know. That's the right way to start our month of August.
I'm an August born as
Are
well.
you serious?
I am.
August when?
27th.
Oh, wow. My big sister is 28th.
Oh, nice.
28th August.
Nice.
Hey, August, for me, you too, no,
We rock.
All right, thank you so much. We take a break. I'll be back with a bit of me. You know, August is my special month because my daughter was born on the 11th of August. Yes, she's going to turn 3, you know, in a few days. So I love August. And you can imagine, you know my story. So I love my girl. I love my daughter with everything. I mean, everything I do is about her. I think about her. I dream about her. And I remember when I was in mandatory quarantine and I was told that she had hurt her finger. It wasn't a big deal, but then I was dying. It was killing me. But after I came out and the lockdown was lifted, and I had to come to town to start work, coming every now and then. As soon as I get home, I rush to go and have a shower before she sees me. But before then, I mean, I'm going home and she's the one I'm thinking about, you know, how she'll come and meet me and say, "Mommy," and hug me and all that, all excited. And I live for it. I mean, my whole day, I think about that, looking forward to that very moment. And then one day I got home and somehow she got to know that I had, you know, arrived. So I went to the bathroom to shower and then she came. I heard her banging on the door, crying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." But I couldn't open. So after I had my shower and everything, I came out. So then she hugged me and said, "Oh, mommy, why? Oh, mommy, why? I love you." It broke my heart. It broke my heart so much that suddenly that one who gives me joy, I have to avoid her. So I can imagine a mother who has become positive and can't hug the child or can't be close to the child, or a mother whose child has become positive. It's very traumatizing. It's emotionally damaging if we don't handle it well. That is why we have to be nice. That is why we have to be kind. These are the times that we need each other. These are the times that we have to feel for each other. And these are the times that we need to pay particular attention to the children because they are also going through their own psychological, trauma. Anything that happens to the house has a toll. I mean, I have, guess so many things happen and, I learned a lot from my little girl. I learned a lot from her because I could see she feels it. She may not say it, but she feels it. So please, even as we deal with COVID, even as we fight COVID, let's not lose sight of the children. Let's draw them closer. Let's educate them. Let's empower them. And let's love them a bit more. This is the time for closeness, bond of the family. And let's own the fight against COVID as a family. Adverts, promos that goes with, we must target the family so that the family can own it and fight it. That is the best way I think we can go about it. Ultimately, don't forget the children in these times. I remain a woman with super crazy faith in God. I know that He's got us all covered, but He has given us wisdom. So in these difficult times, in this COVID period, let's apply the wisdom and do the right thing. Thanks for watching. See you same time next week. Bye for now.